Welcome. I'm very glad to be able to be with all of you today and in this way. I am not going to make any opening statement, so we will go directly into your questions.
The first question we have is from Terrell. He asks, would Raj comment on the book, Thus Saith the Lord, the autobiography of God? Thank you.
No. I would like for you to ask a question that relates to you, yourself. I would like all of you to use this time together with me for the purpose of exploring your own steps of unfoldment, your own thresholds, your own learnings, your own difficulties in learning. I would like your questions to relate to a need that you are feeling. I don't do book reviews. Okay, and you're welcome to ask another question.
The next question is from Isabella. With love, in 1975, an astrologer told me I had come this lifetime to work through a lot of karma. The last thing to work through would be relationships. For 20 years, I was in a marriage where we grew together in awareness of much clarity. My partner suddenly became fanatical. My ego couldn't handle it, and my health deteriorated, and I felt my integrity was threatened. I am now at a level where my feelings and not ego could allow a relationship of clarity in togetherness. The last question is, am I now at a level where my feelings and not ego could allow a relationship of clarity in togetherness? Thank you, Raj.
Yes, you are. And it's important for you not to assume that you weren't ready for that kind of relationship. It is not appropriate for you to assume responsibility for the behavior of someone else. The problem was that you were willing to violate your integrity by remaining in a situation that was not harmonious, was not healthy. I will say that you gave the benefit of the doubt way past the point that it was reasonable. And being out of your integrity there caused you to have physical problems. I know. How far should you go? How how completely should you give the benefit of the doubt? And here's the answer. Only as far as you can do it without sacrificing your integrity. This is very important. The moment you begin to sacrifice your integrity, you're in an act of self-depreciation. You're in an act of violating yourself. If someone is willing to violate you, emotionally, intellectually, physically, if someone is willing to violate you and expect you to hang in with him in spite of it, you must become very self-aware, not self-conscious, but self-aware. Because the invitation is being made to you to allow something that's unprincipled, to allow yourself to remain in an environment that does not have love as its motive. And you must ask yourself in that kind of situation just how long you can stay in that environment without sacrificing yourself. The moment you begin to violate your own integrity by remaining where you know you don't belong, you begin a war within yourself, because part of you knows you don't belong there. Part of you knows it's time to say no. And either say it in a way that causes the nature of the environment to change to a more constructive mode, or to get out. Part of you knows you need to get out, and part of you is saying, well, he's not really all bad. She's really not all bad. I should give them the benefit of the doubt. I should hang in here. And so you have this conflict within yourself. And for the sake of love, you don't make a decision that brings resolution to the conflict in you. Now, this isn't just you. Everyone deals with this in one way or another. And the tendency, if you have a spiritual background, is to say, well, if I'm really on my spiritual path, or if I'm really a Christian, I will walk the extra mile. Not just 70 miles, but 70 times 7. But I beg your pardon. You're not required to put yourself at risk. You're not required to let yourself be violated. You're not required to be at odds with yourself, within yourself, for the sake of a principle of being a good Christian or being somebody truly on their spiritual path. Shakespeare said, "To thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day. Thou canst not then be false to any man." When you're not being true to yourself, when you are not recognizing your own integrity and not letting it be violated, then you become useless to your fellow man. You begin to reflect in your experience, in your behavior, your conflictedness, which isn't your true nature. And you need to recognize when you're doing that and stop. It's really very simple. Now, I've said this before under other circumstances. You could sit there and say, well, yes, but my sense of my integrity is based upon my experience and my education and my current belief systems. And, a year from now, I may not interpret this as violating my integrity. So I don't really have a sound foundation from which to say no. My need to say no in this abusive or violating circumstance is transitory, unstable. And so maybe I'd better not say no. I don't care whether you're 21 years old or 32 years old or 55 or 76 years old. Whatever your current sense of your integrity is, and you always do have a clear sense of your own integrity, whatever it is at the moment is the one you base your actions upon. Why? Because if you violate your integrity, no matter where you are in the unfoldment of your experience of your integrity, 1 millimeter beyond that experience of integrity is out of your integrity. You see that? Don't take that 1 millimeter step outside of your integrity. No matter what your experience of integrity is at any given moment. In this way, you stay true to yourself. You see, the problem wasn't that you weren't ready for a fulfilling relationship. The problem was that you weren't paying any attention to the boundaries of your integrity and honoring them. And so I say, yes, you are ready. And you're also ready to not so quickly sacrifice your integrity now. And that's the key thing. That's the key thing. I'll tell you something else. An astrologer or someone may have told you something about your life purpose here, and that the last one, the big one, was going to be relationships. Well, I'll tell you, all of you, being is relationships. Existing is relationships. This isn't the biggie for you. Everyone is in the process of finding out the real meaning of relationships. Conversely, everyone is learning the valuelessness of autonomy, of independence, of separateness. At the bottom line, this is the undoing, not of unhappy relationships, it's the undoing of the dream of not being divine. It's the undoing of the illusion of being separate from God. It's the undoing of the belief and the apparent experience all of you have of looking around you and calling what you're seeing the world and universe instead of the kingdom of heaven. So don't give special weight to what the astrologer said, okay? And enjoy the opportunity you have for learning how to have meaningful relationships, how to be undefended with another, how to let them in, and how to let yourself out. And do it with an intimate partner and a friend and your pet or the tree you see outside or the sunset, so that you begin to let in the experience of oneness, not separateness. Okay.
The next question is from Scott. How do I walk again across the bridge from left brain to heaven, right brain? And are you able to see where I am? And are you able to see where I am at and even help me do so?
Well, let's, instead of talking about left brain, right brain, and thinking of it located physically, I want you to think of it in terms of reality and unreality. In other words, you have a glass mug. You're either seeing it truly or not truly. Or a tree, or anything in your experience. There is something there. No matter what anyone tells you, there is something there. And you're either having a true experience of it or a distorted experience of it. At no point is what you're looking at an illusion. At no point is what you're looking at not there, really. The most valuable way I can suggest to you to approach this is to assume that any object, anything you see, anything that is in your experience does exist. And it exists as the presence of God. It exists as creation, some aspect of the infinitude of what God is being. Are you seeing that? No. None of you are seeing anything as it is yet. Many of you have had glimpses, insights, illuminations. So instead of thinking of shifting from right brain to left brain, from intellectual to feeling, I want you to just let anything and everything in your experience provide you with the opportunity to say, I would like to see the more of what God is being there than I'm seeing right now. And then be willing to abandon whatever definition you are currently giving to that thing. Be willing to say to yourself, I think I know what that is. I thought I knew for sure what it is. But if it's something divine, something purely and utterly divine, And if it is the presence of God to be seen for what it is, as the presence of God, then I'm going to be curious to let that thing convey to me what of God it is manifesting, because it has the capacity to communicate with you. In this way, it will seem to be less of a movement from right to left, and will place it more truly in your mind as what it is that needs to happen, a shift of perception. And it will actually amount to the abandoning of a concept you have of a thing and a movement into an experience of what it is, a knowing. And I capitalize the K for that word, knowing, because it's a direct and full experience of God. It is a holy experience. And so if you're looking at a thing and you're not experiencing its holiness, there's more there. And you need to invite the fuller experience of it. As you become undefended against what a thing truly is in its holiness, in its divinity, in its perfection, in its existence as the embodiment of love, you learn something about yourself. Because I promise you, whenever you have an experience of illumination where the truth is actually being experienced by you, and you are experiencing the love that is embodied in whatever the thing is that you're being open to, you have the inescapable experience of knowing that you're one with it and it is one with you, and that the love which it is extending to you is the love that you are, and there is a singularity, a unity to the experience, and it alters you. There's no intellectual process, or I'm going to say there's no process that I would encourage you to engage in to shift from the right hemisphere to the left hemisphere. What I encourage you to engage in is allowing a shift of perception right in the midst of your experience, your daily experience, a shift of perception about things you're already familiar with. And what will facilitate it, as I said, is the invitation, the desire to see the more of what God is being there than what you're seeing. I think you will find this easier because you don't see that as an intellectual process, a way of intellectually making something happen. At the bottom line, you're letting something register with you. You're becoming defenseless against the influx of inspiration. You see? It becomes an allowing rather than a doing. An allowing rather than an efforting. And I promise you, any effort you bring to waking up, any effort you bring to try to cause illumination to happen will block it. It's said that in defenselessness my safety lies. Well, also in defenselessness your illumination lies. In defenselessness your awakening lies. Okay.
We have a question from Donna Jean. She asks, recently I have found myself connecting with someone on a spiritual level, knowing the Holy Spirit has brought us together. This has occurred outside of my marriage. My husband and I have a lot of distance in age between us, so I feel obligated to remain, but I am involved and have told my husband about it. I feel no guilt. Can you offer advice? There was a little bit added too. She said, I hope there's some guidance because I truly need it. It has been a very hard time for me. I was at the 11th hour on leaving my husband, but felt a voice inside saying I needed to stay. But now I feel that I can completely be honest and open to my husband because we have not been together in over 10 years. Sort of complicated, but God knows.
Well, maybe you don't feel guilty, but you're also not being clear. You're not being direct. If you are going to be involved with someone intimately and with commitment, complete, finalize, and bring to an end the earlier commitment. Else you are going to exist in a fuzzy netherland. That doesn't constitute true commitment. And that will evidence itself in the new relationship. I am not here to promote guilt, but I am here to tell you that if you are unclear and unspecific and nebulous in relationships, you will have the effect of it. It isn't constructive. Commitment is commitment. Either you're committed or you're not. And you cannot be committed to two. You cannot be committed to two. You will find that becoming utterly clear within yourself and expressing that clarity in the form of either remaining with your husband and stopping the other relationship, or divorcing your husband and committing yourself fully to the new relationship, will be an expression of integrity within you that will find manifestation in your experience of integrity. Now, if you can't make up your mind between the two of them, you are not clear within yourself. I'm being very straight with you because I'm setting the example. You need to be very straight with yourself. You need to be unequivocal within yourself. That is what integrity is. Integrity is not wishy-washy. Integrity is not undefinable. Integrity is for lack of better words, the structural strength of the embodiment of life, truth, and love that you are.